My name is Eric Hayden. I'm a meteorologist with the Weather Service in Newport, Morehead City. Starting off with the rainfall map, because I know we still have some folks logging on, and I want to make sure people don't miss this important information. And we're also starting off with rain because everyone's going to see this. Strong area of low pressure is going to move out of the Gulf of Mexico, across Florida, and right up along our coast during the day, Sunday and Sunday night. An intense area of low pressure, it's going to bring us pretty much everything. It's a nor'easter, heavy rain, wind, coastal flooding. We stress this throughout the year that some of our biggest impacts in the winter can be as intense as some of the tropical systems we get during the summer. We don't want people to let their guard down if they're new to the community and live along the coast. We are not just impacted during hurricane season, we are really impacted year round. This storm this weekend will be a really good example of that. So everyone's going to see rain. Rain arrives on Sunday, really peaks Sunday afternoon through the Sunday night. That will be our heaviest rainfall amounts. We have been dry recently. I know a lot of weekends, especially on Sundays, we're lining up with heavier rain. For the most part, we do not expect major issues with the rain. When we get those intense periods of rain, could we have some ponding and low spots, especially urban areas, low spots in the road? Yes, but overall, we can handle the rain for the most part. Generally speaking, 2 to 4 inches across our area. The highest amounts look to be across the Crystal Coast, places like Jacksonville up through Swan Quarter. We could have some of those amounts approaching 4 inches. So the rain, everyone's going to see it. That's why we wanted to mention it in the very beginning in terms of amount. I want to step out of here and then now focus on the coastal flooding and the wind aspect. That will be the highest impact for our area for sure. This is a new tool we have in the Weather Service. You're going to see this more here in the coming months. It allows us to visualize what's going to happen with the weather. We can talk probabilities, we can talk wind speed, we can talk direction. Really neat tool. Curious your feedback on that. We've got a couple different ways to show you. One is the web browser. We're not sure how that's going to look over the webinar. So Mr. Carl Barnes, one of our lead forecasters, he also saved off some screenshots as well that are a little bit bigger so that you might be able to view that a little bit better. What you're looking at here is wind gusts Sunday morning. What I want you to get out of this is when is the peak wind? We're going to talk about the wind direction. That's extremely important when we're talking about coastal flooding. That will be one of our biggest impacts from this storm. So Sunday morning, winds just starting to pick up. You've got some 20 mile per hour gusts, especially along the coast. But notice as we advance into the afternoon, winds steadily pick up. This is 1 o'clock on Sunday. Places like Greenville, Williamston, inland areas, wind gusts 20 to 30 miles per hour. But the darker shading of orange, 40 mile per hour gusts possible by Sunday afternoon along the coast. So wind speeds steadily pick up during the day Sunday and really peaking Sunday evening and Sunday night. We'll stop it here at 7 o'clock. These orange values, again, gust over 40 miles per hour possible, even inland areas like Greenville, Snow Hill, down through Kinston. But your eye is really drawn toward that darker shading of red. By far, the strongest winds are going to be along the immediate coastline. So Crystal Coast, we're talking gust potentially over 50 miles per hour. And then notice this darker shading of red across the Outer Banks with the water surrounding it. You commonly get these stronger wind gusts. We could have wind gusts on the order of 60 miles per hour or greater Sunday night across the Outer Banks. The other thing I want you to notice, the wind is impressive. We get a lot of wind around here. We could see some scattered power outages, but it's really the direction, the intensity, and the duration that we're extremely concerned about. And what I mean by that is, notice if you can see it, these wind barbs show the direction. The wind is coming from the southeast. That's going to push all of the water toward our coast. In the case of the sounds, the Pamlico Sound, it's going to push it all up the Pungo and Pamlico rivers. So we are concerned with coastal flooding in places like Washington and Bath along those waterways. And initially, we're going to have extreme low water values on Soundside Outer Banks. So there are going to be some navigational issues, not only due to the high water, but also the low water over the eastern end of the Pamlico Sound. All along our coast, Crystal Coast, Outer Banks, with that southeast wind flow pushing those waves toward the coast, we'll have beach erosion and ocean overwash. So that wind direction of southeast is extremely important because initially that's going to focus the high water along our immediate coastline and then up the inland rivers, especially Pamlico and Pungo River, places like Washington and Bath and Belhaven, some of those known trouble spots we're very concerned with, specifically Sunday night. As we animate this through Sunday night, still pretty strong winds, again, 50 miles per hour plus on the coast, 60 mile per hour plus winds on the Outer Banks. You'll notice over the Gulf Stream where the waters are warmer, we're talking hurricane force gusts over the open water. So this gives you an idea for how strong this storm will be during the day or Sunday night when those winds peak. As we head through Sunday night into Monday morning, the wind directions are shifting now into the southwest by 4 a.m. and then by 7 a.m. we've got a southwest wind. That will shift the concern with coastal flooding, could have some rapid water rises on the eastern end of the Pamlico Sound. Specifically, the Outer Banks, Buxton area, northward, we could have some coastal flooding. We do anticipate that with that wind shift from southeast dramatically into the southwest. With that wind shift, we're still talking gusts over 50 miles per hour first thing Monday morning. So the most severe coastal flooding, inland rivers, Pamlico, Pungo River Sunday night, and then Outer Banks, Sound side right around daybreak on Monday. The concerning thing with that is it's pre-dawn hours, pre-sunset. So really want to get the word out in terms of those water level rises on the Outer Banks. During the days, Monday, still breezy, but the winds gradually come down. By Monday afternoon, we still have some gusts over 30 miles per hour on the Outer Banks, but they will certainly diminish. We want to now go back to the presentation and show you some thresholds that are commonly asked, and appreciate Carl for saving this off. Probability of tropical storm force gust. We just show you this because a lot of mariners, the Coast Guard, use that threshold of 39 miles per hour, 34 knots to make decisions. These are sustained winds. Probability late Sunday into Monday morning during that peak time, greater than a 50% probability we will exceed tropical storm force winds places like the Morehead City Port, across the Pamlico Sound. So really most of our bodies of water expected pretty good chance to exceed sustained winds greater than 39 miles per hour. As far as gusts go, greater than 58 miles per hour, we picked that threshold because that's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. That is when we could potentially have some limbs down, some tree branches, some scattered power outages. You will be breezy inland, Greenville and Kinston, but probability of you having those really strong winds is pretty low, 20% or less. As you head down toward the coast, New Bern, Maysville, Jacksonville, your chances increase steadily into the 30s and 40s. And then right down by the coast itself, greater than a 50% chance you are going to have gusts over 58 miles per hour. Those would be the most likely area for scattered power outages, tree limbs down, things of that nature. It's Christmas season, decorations, and all that good stuff blowing around certainly is a concern. So we really hammered the wind for a reason. That's one of our biggest concerns, and as a result of the wind will be the potential for coastal flooding. Our biggest concern by far is are the orange shaded areas, that darker shading. Initially, it will be oceanside areas with that southeast wind and the large waves. We're going to show you that here in a second. But the two areas I want to highlight, again, the Pamlico and Pungo rivers, places like Washington, Bath, Belhaven, those areas, the darker shading of orange greater than 3 feet above normally dry ground. And then the other area is on the Outer Banks. Highway 12, yes, you can have some ocean overwash, but the concern is with rapid water level rises late Sunday night, more likely first thing Monday morning as those winds shift from southeast dramatically into the southwest. That could occur before daybreak, so we really want to get the word out for people to know about that. We mentioned all that wind, so no surprise, dangerous marine conditions on the waters, 20 to 25 foot waves, especially over toward the Gulf Stream where the waters are warm and are going to mix down some of those stronger winds. So 20 to 25 foot waves, hurricane force wind gusts out over the open water. That should kind of really convey the severity of this storm.